This podcast is brought to you by UPS. Now one of the world's largest package delivery companies, UPS started out as a small business too, so they have the expertise and experience to make international shipping easy for your business. Find out more at www.ups.com/SMB.
Hello and welcome to Small Business Snippets, the podcast from smallbusiness.co.uk. I am your host, Anna Jordan. Today we have Sian Gabbidon, entrepreneur, TV personality and the Apprentice winner in 2018. With a keen interest in fashion as a teenager, Sian did a fashion design with marketing and production degree at the University of Huddersfield. She went on to create her swimwear range, Sian Marie, 2 years before appearing on The Apprentice. But a global pandemic affecting sun-seeking holidays meant that she had to pivot to loungewear very quickly after reporting a loss of £47,000 from the brand. She's since bounced back, launching a range of loungewear at Asda at the beginning of November 2021. We'll be talking about growing your brand on Instagram and handling a business when you're ill with COVID-19. Hi, Sian.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Okay, so the first thing I would like to talk to you about is you started out posting your designs on Instagram after you graduated from university. So at the time of recording, you've grown that following from almost 120,000 on your personal account and almost 70,000 on your Sian Marie loungewear account. And I'm sure our listeners would love to know, how do you engage with your audience and build your brand on Instagram?
It's a lot more difficult nowadays, I'd say, than it was back when I first set up. Nowadays with Instagram, you have algorithms and all kinds of things going on that can, help and not help. But for me, it was quite organic, especially back before The Apprentice on my business page. We just ended up getting quite a lot of stylists and even celebrities and people following us because we had designs that others didn't really have. So we just really organically grew that following and just got more and more and more support. And then obviously pivoting into lounge, it's almost like a new audience has come about now as well. So I think nowadays, when I first was using Instagram back in the day, when I first set the brand up, it wasn't as monetized as it is now. So you weren't really paying to get seen, you were seen automatically. Everyone that followed you would see your posts. Whereas nowadays, because you have to pay for posts, especially as a business, it's a lot harder to reach the audiences. You can do it, you just have to spend a bit more money now. Whereas back then, it was like a free-for-all and everyone just saw everything that you posted.
Yeah, I imagine stylists were probably looking through Instagram at the time to try and find designers like yourselves.
Definitely. I think stylists use places like Instagram for new talent. It's perfect for those guys. They don't have to go to a store to find things. They could literally just look online, find some really unique, different designs. And that's what we were all about, especially with swimwear. It was very much one-off pieces that you wouldn't clash at a pool party in. So it was perfect for celebrities.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of advice would you give to particularly, say, creative entrepreneurs now to get noticed on Instagram?
I would say now it still does boil down to that raw talent. If you've got a raw talent and you're creating amazing designs and you're using the right hashtags, there's a few tricks of the trade with Instagram that will help you get seen. But I think having that talent and engaging maybe with the people that you want to see you, sometimes that can work. There's the kind of tricks of the trade with Insta that you can use to be seen. But I think, it's mainly just about having the talent, getting your pictures on there and pushing it as much as you can and being consistent, posting every single day, making the people that follow you almost know when you're about to post so they can be prepared for it. There's peak times for posting. There's having that with Instagram, you should always be posting regular content without posting too much, but then without not posting enough. It's a really tricky balance because you want to keep people engaged, but you don't want to annoy them. But I think as a designer, especially, or a creative, if you're creating pieces that are one-offs or whatever, throwing them all on there and have a wall full of your work so that people, when they do find you, can just flick through and see everything.
So once you had become a bit more established, were getting noticed by the stylists and everything, I believe it was an influencer who wore one of your pieces and you got recognised off the back of that as well. But then the pandemic hit and of course people are not wanting the sunny holidays, they're stuck at home, and you had to pivot to loungewear very, very quickly. So tell us a bit more about how you went about doing that and how long it took.
Yeah, so we were like 90% swimwear UK based pre-pandemic, and then the pandemic hit. I think we just launched a range in like the March, a full swimwear range, and it was an absolute nightmare. People were sending stuff back saying the holidays had been cancelled. And I remember first hearing about coronavirus and having a bit of a, well, we'll see what happens. It's probably going to be fine. Like, it won't affect me. And then this all kicked off, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is destroying for my type of business. We did always plan to expand into new areas, just not as quickly as we had to do with the pandemic. So it kind of forced me and us to expand quicker than we wanted to, but it's actually, out of such a terrible time, it's probably been the best thing that we've ever done, because loungewear for me now, it's just proven how hard swimwear is, because it's seasonal. It's kind of a much smaller demographic in some ways than loungewear. And the way that, as a designer and as a brand owner, the way that we kind of turned around the product and made everything happen was so much quicker than it normally would be for a fashion brand. But I think I look at that now and kind of pat myself on the back for being able to adapt and to change so quickly and react to what was going on and survive it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, one of the key attributes of a business owner is to be nimble and to be able to adapt very quickly. And you even had COVID-19 yourself. How did that affect you and the business?
Having COVID was dreadful. Even now, I can't taste or smell, and it's so bizarre. Like,
wow,
it's been months now, and I can't taste or smell anything. So, like, on a personal level, having COVID myself was weird. I was more scared for family, friends, making sure that everybody else would be all right. My mum's literally just found out she's got COVID today, so I'm like, gosh, hope that she's okay. And she's a nurse, so. But yeah, you know what? COVID itself was just such a strange thing to live through and to be a business owner through. Every business on the planet was affected in some way by it, and it's sad that some of them didn't make it, but luckily for me, I could adapt. I was on the ball and I was involved. I think sometimes people think I'm just like sat on a beach enjoying life, and it's really not like that as a business owner. Not for me anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a thing with entrepreneurs, especially on social media, where they're sort of living the high life and having a good time. But I think there's less of the imagery of, I don't know, sitting with a planning board at 3 a.m. and that kind of thing. Social
media is amazing, but it does depict, I think, entrepreneurs, business owners in a certain light that makes everything look glamorous, which, do you know what, it 100% is at times, but then there's a lot of the time where it's just hard work. You're working long hours, you're full on, there's a lot of hurdles, a lot of stresses, and I think that's why probably a lot of startups struggle, or they don't make it past certain hurdles, because they're expecting everything to be rosy, and it really isn't. And even in my position now, we're doing really, really well, we're growing and we're going in the right direction, and I'm in a really happy place. But it's still, there's still hurdles, there's still issues, there's still stresses every single day. But as a business owner and an entrepreneur, you're ready for that, and you're ready to attack that and to keep going, I guess.
What's the most stressful thing you face as an entrepreneur, and how do you tackle it?
One of the things that I personally struggle with as an entrepreneur, it's a very funny one, and I'm sure others would agree, is letting go of things and letting other people do them or manage them. Like, I very much, my business, I set up myself in my bedroom, and I know every single part of the business, even now. And I think it's hard, I am all about my brand, so everything I do is about the brand, and I care. And I think sometimes just letting other people manage things and having a team of people who you need around you, but then allowing them to do it for you, I really struggle with it even now. It's, you have to as the business grows, but I like to do everything myself, and you can't do everything yourself.
Today's opportunities for your business are borderless. As a global shipping provider, UPS is here to help your business capitalise on growing local and international markets and reach new customers across its global network. Find out more at www.ups.com/SMB.
Yeah, I mean, is that just a case of, okay, breathe, let them do the thing, trust them, or is there something specific that you do to try and ease that anxiety?
I think to help with that, it's about employing the right people. It's about making sure that they're well trained, they know what they're doing, and that they know if they need help, there's either a manager or there's you there if they really need to speak to somebody or ask someone. So for me, it's kind of like making sure you've got the right people in place for the job, and then allowing yourself to be open to questions and giving help if you need to as well.
And another challenge that's coming up that may affect you is the possible regulation of the buy now, pay later market, because I understand that you use a buy now, pay later facility on the site. It's still under consultation at the moment, but how do you think that's going to change that side of the business for you as a retailer?
What's happening? Are they saying they're not going to allow it anymore?
No, it's just that it's going to be regulated like other credit facilities, like credit cards and so on. So it's more stringent checks and being more lenient with people who are struggling to make repayments and that kind of thing. But it looks like the retailers might have to be authorised by the Financial Conduct Authority as well.
In terms of buy now, pay later, we do have it on our site, and it does come in handy, but majority of our sales are just bought directly through PayPal's or credit cards. So depending on how that works, it might affect us slightly. But I think anything that's going to make people safer and avoid them getting themselves into debts or anything like that, then as a business owner, you've got to make sure people are, that's the priority, really.
Yeah. You started the business on a very low budget. What kind of advice would you have for, say, sole traders, one-man bands who want to start their business on a low budget?
Anyone wanting to start a business on a low budget, I would say don't be put off by that. It actually was, I think I would personally say it was great for me because it taught me how to be smart with money, how to reinvest profits. I worked full-time when I first set the business up and didn't take any money out of the business for myself for quite a while. I allowed the pot to just build up. Luckily, working allowed me to do that, and it meant me having really early mornings and really late nights to manage a business and a full-time job. But that was my plan, in a sense that I didn't want to put too much pressure on making money to begin with. It was more about getting the right things in place, having the website, having some cash saved up for any rainy days or anything that I need it for. So I would just say you definitely can do it. You just have to be very smart about planning and money managing.
I'd like to talk a little bit about The Apprentice and your time on it. So, you got right through to the final. What was the most memorable task for you and why?
The most memorable task for me in The Apprentice was definitely, we did a QVC task, like a selling on TV. And I remember taking a massive punt and saying, right, I'm going to pick the most expensive product that we could choose from. And in my head, I kind of said to myself, if we win, amazing. If we don't win, I'm probably going to get kicked off this task. But it was one where I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a risk and I'm going to hope that Lord Sugar appreciates me taking the risk. And luckily, I think we won. I'm pretty sure that we won that task and everything paid off for me. So yeah, that was my favourite one.
And right at the very end, you and Camilla, you seem to be, not as much as other years, but you seem to be in quite a head-to-head with a lot of arguing. But then it all of a sudden, it's as if once Lord Sugar had made the announcement, it's as if, I don't know, something just fell and you were sort of not best friends, but you kind of made up again. Tell us what it's like being in that final meeting room scenario.
Being in the final with Camilla at the time, we were actually really good friends and we were very similar age-wise and interests, whatever else. So it was a really strange situation because it was like we were really buzzing for each other being in the final, but then you were competing against each other. But we knew, when we was in front of Lord Sugar and was in the final and we were grilling we kind of knew the situation and we knew that we'd have to say things about each other's businesses and about each other, and I think we just kind of took it and run with it. But we knew that off camera and behind the scenes we were friends, and we genuinely would have been whatever the outcome would have been and whoever would have won, you know, we would have been happy. Like, had that been Camilla, I would have been absolutely buzzing for her. So it was a really strange one, but it would, obviously for me, I'll never forget the moment that I won. But then being in the final with her is another thing that I'll never forget either, because it was a girl power final.
Were you encouraged at all to ham it up, or was that all real?
Everything on the show is real. Everything that you see is real. It's emotional, you know. You've been in there for a long time, you're tired, you've been doing all these tasks, and especially by the final, I was a bit like, I'm so competitive as well, that I was like, by this stage, if I don't win now, like, I'm going to be absolutely fuming. So to get to the final, I was like, okay, I'm knackered, but this is the final hurdle now, and I need to win it. You know, I'd have kicked myself if I'd have come second.
Well, great. I mean, that seems like a great place to wrap up. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Sian. It's been wonderful to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been great.
You can find out more about Sian at sianmarie.com. You can also visit smallbusiness.co.uk for more articles on growing your brand on social media. Remember to like us on Facebook at Small Business Experts, follow us on Twitter at Small Business UK, all lowercase, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, linked in the description. Until next time, thank you for listening.